I guess I'm live. I need to grab my computer's right over there. Someday I will learn how to have everything ready for my live. Oh my goodness. Hello, up close and personal. Okay, I got my computer. So now I have my laptop over here and I can talk to you guys. We're going to talk about guinea fowl today. So if you're into guineas, and I did put some tags in there, if you're into homesteading, guineas, self-sufficiency, fowl behavior, we're going to talk about guineas, at least my experience with guineas. And I'm by no means an expert. Just logging into my computer. Ooh, it's loud. To turn down the volume. Someone turned the volume up. I did not. I had the volume off. Oh, no. I'm not. That's not true. I did turn it on yesterday. Okay, let me get over to my channel so that I can put in the chat what I'm doing. Oh, look, there I am. It shows my live. Good deal. Okay, guys, if you come in, go ahead and tell the chat where you're chatting from. And I am chatting from Tennessee. Let's see, what am I going to put in here as far as what we're talking about? I'm talking about guinea fowl. Guinea fowl, period. Didn't put a period at the end of it. But that's what I'm going to be talking about, guinea fowl. So there I am. There's my chat. Welcome, Nana's Ranch. Welcome, whoever just walked in. We're going to be talking about guinea fowl today in this live stream. And I'm just going to wait till a few more people are in here, and then I'll go ahead and start talking about some of our experience with guineas. If there's anyone out there who's interested in getting into guinea fowl, that's great. We definitely met people that wanted to get into guinea fowl because we sold guinea fowl. I raised them. We had them to eat the ticks at our place. We had a 3-acre parcel, and that's where our house was. And then down the road, we had 20 acres. And we're kind of weird that way. Like even now, hey, Mike, I'm in Tennessee, Mike. How about you? What part of the world are you in? Tennessee, United States. In fact, I'm in East Tennessee. So we had the guinea fowl originally to eat the ticks on our 3-acre parcel. And they did a really good job. They definitely ate the ticks. Top. You're from the top? Hey, 67 Guy Edits. Hello, Brazil. Cool. I've never been to South America. Sorry about that. I would love to have gone to South America when I was younger. I'm kind of too old to travel now. I'm not too old to travel. I don't want to travel. Hey, 67 Guy. I'm a 62 Nana. So we got the guineas to eat the ticks on our 3-acre parcel. And we got them, I already knew they were loud and obnoxious because years ago I had a boss who had a flock of guineas. I knew they were loud and obnoxious. I did not realize how their loud and obnoxiousness was going to affect my life. They're kind of alarm clocks, but they alarm at everything. So it's not like they do you any good. You know, the fox comes in the yard, they alarm. A leaf falls out of a tree, they alarm. Hi, Dr. Muhammad. So the alarm doesn't really work because it's not, just for predators. Anyway, we got a bunch of keats. That's what guineas are called. Let me put that in here. Guinea keats. Keats are the babies. Hey, Jimmy, talking about guinea hen, guinea fowl, guinea cock, guinea keats, the whole thing. Yes, I said the C word, but you guys are mature. I am in Tennessee in the United States. Ahmed. Is that how you pronounce your name? Ahmed? I'm not sure. In I'm now in Tennessee. So anyway, the little babies, the little Keats we got at the feed store, they grew up. My thumbnail on this video shows 3 of them, and they were really good referees. When the ducks would get into a fight, they would referee, and that photograph in my thumbnail is actually showing them refereeing a fight between 2 of my male ducks. One of the ducks in the fight was their favorite duck, and they actually escorted him around the property and kind of protected him. They were like the Keystone Cops. They just took him. I don't even know why. They just decided that they were going to protect him from the other ducks, and that's kind of what they tried to do. So whenever there was a fight, they would try to break up the fight. They didn't like it, and they surrounded that one duck. The 3 guineas would always surround him. They would walk him down to the pond, and he would go swimming. They would walk all around that pasture with him. Wherever he went, they went. It was the weirdest thing. Oh, Shart. You know what? I'm just going to put you on timeout. Let's see, timeout. We'll go 10 minutes. We'll see how that works. Just so you guys know, if you want to go to a page and be, dicks, go ahead. But I'm here to talk about guinea fowl today. So how about if we do that? Okay, we'll talk about guineas. It's a long story, Phil. It could last 45 minutes. It just depends on how many times I've put people on timeout. So anyway, we raised them. I'll give you some of the memorable incidents that happened. We had a female guinea hiding somewhere on the property. Hey Bronson, I haven't seen you in a long time, man. Where you been? We're talking about guineas today, and I might need you to help me. I've missed you too, dude. I've needed you here because when you're not here, nobody's here to pick up on the subliminal messages and the bad things I say that maybe aren't bad, but they could be bad. Anyway, it's a very long story, Phil. Why did you time someone out for paying you a compliment? No, it's okay. I'm good with putting him on 10 minutes timeout. It's cool. Anyway, so she had a clutch of eggs somewhere on our property. I could not find her. In fact, I probably didn't even know she was missing, or maybe I did. It's been a long, long time. She shows up with all her babies one day, and liquids. Anyway, she shows up with all of her little Keats one day, and she's hanging out with the rest of the guineas, and they're running around. And then I noticed that the ground squirrels were grabbing her baby Keats and killing them and eating them. So I wasn't able to collect her and her babies that day. But come nightfall, she flew up in the tree. This was the first day of her babies being hatched. She flew up in a tree to perch with all of the other guineas and just left her babies on the ground. No warmth, no protection, no mama's love. It was like growing up a latchkey kid from the time you're a newborn. And so I did go and I collected the babies, but we lost probably 3 babies to the ground squirrels, and it was really awful carnage. It was gross. And then, of course, the ravens were trying to get them. So the baby Keats, the Bronson Italians? Are guineas Italian? I don't think so, man. They're African. Come on now. Keep up. What do you mean Italian? Guineas? Is that what they call Italians? So I collected all the babies and I sold them. I didn't have a coop for them. I put them on Craigslist probably. Or actually, you know what? There was a feed store we were in Central California. There was a feed store in the valley. They might have bought them from me just to get them into good homes because I didn't have a brooder set up. I didn't have a coop I could put them in. I didn't need 15 guinea Keats. So that was my first indication that guinea hens are terrible mothers. They're just bad mothers. We had the 3 guineas that surrounded that duck and protected him from the other ducks. And he was the low duck on the totem pole. He never had any females, but the funniest thing was, if that duck kind of went over to a female and said, Hey, Cat and Jack, we are neighbors. Are you going to be at the drag strip this weekend by any chance? I'm going to be there all weekend. I don't know how much it costs to get in the gate. Ahmed, I don't have any right now, but probably the most I had was like 30, and that was including that clutch of babies. And then I hatched out a bunch in my incubator and sold them. My population was constantly changing because our livestock, they paid, they earned a living, I should say. They paid for themselves. So I sold the eggs, the fertile eggs, I sold the babies, and I sold the adults. Oh, you work all weekend. Dang. Well, okay, Cat and Jack. Isn't that fun? We're neighbors. She noticed one of my videos down at the raceway recently and said, "Hey, I think we're neighbors." I think we are too. I think we are. So anyway, that was my third story about the guineas, right? Or is that the second one? Okay, we got the one surrounded. Oh, if that duck ever found a girl that he liked, and he started going over to her and being like, you know, and now I'm an actress, so I do voices. So let me do a voice. I have the Muscovy ducks. And so the females kind of chirp a little bit and the males hiss. So if he saw a female he liked, he would go, and he'd put his head down and there was kind of a little bit of eye contact going on. Those guineas would break that up right away, like a school chaperone, right? I mean, like they were, not happening, man. So not only did they protect him from the other ducks that beat the crap out of him, which if I saw a fight with him, I would try to rescue him because he had a place in my heart because he was just he wasn't little, but he was, you know, in his own mind, he was so small and the other ones were so mean to him. So thanks for all the hearts. That's cool. Thank you. And thanks to the 5 of you who actually gave me thumbs up. Awesome. So anyway, yeah, that guy, so that's the second story. Then I had another, so bad moms, protective order. He was in the witness protection program, that duck surrounded by the guineas, couldn't even get a girl. And we had enough room on the property where a male that wasn't allowed to breed by the other males, because there was like a hierarchy, and if you weren't up high, you couldn't breed. They wouldn't let you. They could sneak around behind a tree. We had a big old oak tree in the pasture. They could kind of sneak behind it, and I would watch them. And the male and the female would kind of like doo, 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 behind the tree. A little bit of fun going on back there. He couldn't even do that because the guineas would go behind the tree with him. And when he was trying to be a daddy, a baby daddy, they would break it up. They were bad. Anyway, so that's 2 stories. Bad mommy, witness protection program. Then we had Napoleon. Napoleon was a guinea cock. Bronson, are you still here? I said the word. We had a guinea cock named Napoleon. Napoleon was a guard guinea. He protected the entire property. And in his mind, he was huge. Any vehicle that went down the road, he chased. And he would run the whole fence line in the donkey pasture. And we had a pond in there, and that's where a lot of the ducks were. He would chase that truck or car or, you know, delivery van, whatever, all the way down the fence line. And then he would stop at the corner and they would keep going. So in his mind, he was chasing away these huge monsters. If we pulled in the yard with our truck, which it was usually the truck we'd pull in to deliver hay or feed or whatever, in our own yard with our own truck, he would chase that truck to the gate, out the gate, and then we'd get out of the truck and close the gate, and then we'd drive up the road. Now, this time he didn't always chase it away because sometimes we pulled up onto the road, came around, and parked in our own driveway. And he would stand at the gate and watch that truck in the driveway. And he would just have to deal with the fact that the truck was not running away. But later, when we got in the truck to go to town or to do whatever, to go down the road to our other property, he would chase us down the road, and he would always chase us away. So he was huge in his own mind, Napoleon was. He also came after me, and I'm always wearing, in the spring, summer, and fall, I'm in shorts and flip-flops out in the yard, and he'd hit the back of my leg. He didn't really injure me, but it wasn't pleasant. So that was a bummer. Napoleon, I don't know what happened to Napoleon. He may have survived, but then what we ended up having was we had I would say about a half a dozen guineas at one point, and they slept on a branch in an oak tree, and it was up about maybe 8 feet off the ground, high enough that the coyotes couldn't get them. The fox and the bobcats could get them, but we didn't have a problem with them, probably because of the dogs. But the great horned owls is what would get them. So I asked on Facebook, because Facebook is where you find all truth, right? Can I hear an amen? I went into one of my poultry groups and I asked what was going on, why, what could be killing my birds. And someone said great horned owls. And I knew we had great horned owls because I could hear them. You can hear them in the around, and we knew we had at least two. What they do is they get on the branch next to the guineas and they push them over a little bit, push them. They just kind of like go up next to them and push them, and the guinea moves over, and then the owl moves up next to him and pushes them, and then the guinea moves over, and eventually the guinea just says, oh, screw this, and flies down onto the ground. And the owl then flies down onto the guinea, grabs it with the talons, and flies away. The guineas way outweigh the owls. I've had great horned owls when I was doing wildlife rehabilitation for better than a decade. I had a couple of great horned, actually 3 great horned owls that were education birds. They don't weigh very much. And guineas weigh a lot. Like one guinea is a decent sized meal for a small family. So what's going on with my chat? Nothing going on in the chat. You guys are being so well behaved. What happened? I'm just going to make sure I'm still in here. Very good. So anyway, one night I heard a guinea scream, and by the time I got outside, it was over. And the next morning, what I found was I found a puff of feathers, and then about maybe 5 yards away, another puff of feathers, and then a little bit further, another puff of feathers. And I could actually hear it screaming as it got carried off into the night. It takes the owl a few times of really flapping its wings to get that big lump of meat off the ground and carry it off somewhere where it can safely kill it. They don't eat very much. The great horned owls, it's a really big meal for a bird that just doesn't eat that much. I mean, they really don't need a guinea, but they're so easy, and all they really eat is like this part and maybe some of the breast meat or something. I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense to me that they would do that. So when I was down to 4 guineas, I put an ad on Craigslist and I just sold them. My heart wasn't in it anymore, and I didn't have a coop to put them in, and I didn't have the heart to make them live in a coop for the rest of their lives. So I sold them to a rancher quite a ways away from me, and I warned him. I said, hey, the great horned owls will get them. He said, yeah, that's okay. I just want them in the yard for the ticks and whatever all else. So he knew, and I do believe he took Napoleon with him, because I think we had to explain to him that there was one in there that was going to cause problems. It chased cars away. He just had to make sure he had a fence and a gate, because if that guinea could get out, man, he'd be out on the highway. And the guy did live really close to a highway. He'd be out there chasing cars on the highway. Not the smartest birds. But they do have beautiful feathers, right? If you've seen them, probably earrings, fascinators, and you can get their guinea feathers on Etsy, probably on eBay. People dye them different colors. I used to do things with them. I can't remember, probably like keychains and mix them with leather. Or I don't even know what all I did with them, but I used to collect them. I probably still have a bag of them somewhere. So yeah, I love guineas. However, it's kind of a love-hate. I don't like losing them. I might be able to have them now. I don't think we have great horned owls at our ranch, but we do have we have a big property and it's a lot of forest, and the guineas make so much noise at night that an owl would hear that and go, oh, dinner's over there. And so even though we don't have owls right now, we would probably have owls pretty soon, because the guineas aren't good at hiding the fact that they're there. So anyway, that is my stories about guineas. If you're interested in guineas, if you're going to have them, you need a big coop, tall, similar to what you would have for peafowl. Most people call them peacocks, but peafowl, peahens. You want one tall, and I would say probably at least, trying to think of what my old boss's, hers was probably about 12 feet tall, maybe. They like to sleep up high. She had hers coop trained to where she would only feed them and water them in the coop. She would let them out during the day, and then at night she would feed them at night and close them up at night. So hers were coop trained. If I was going to do it again, I would do it with a big tall coop where they could sleep at night safe, and then during the day they could roam around and eat their ticks and their grasshoppers and protect a duck. I do have ducks still. That would be funny. And guineas can mate with chickens. Oh, there's a story I hadn't even thought I would talk about. I had a chicken hatch out a bunch of babies, and one of the babies was different. And from the time he was little, Cat and Jack, baby chicks. She hatched out baby chicks. It was a chicken. And I'm sorry, because I refer to my ducks as hens as well. It was a chicken hen. She hatched out a clutch of babies, and there was one that was insane. Like, I've never had an insane chicken before. I've had annoying, I've had mean, I've had stupid. Can I say stupid on YouTube without getting a not copyright, without getting a strike? He was just crazy. Eventually I realized it was a boy. I named him Felix. I don't know why. He just reminded me of Felix. And then one day I was looking at him and I realized he had the front end of a chicken and the back end of a guinea. His tail and his legs and feet were guinea. His attitude was guinea. The chickens didn't talk to him. The guineas didn't talk to him. So he hung out with the ducks, which is really funny because he actually went into the pond with his duck friends, which was funny. But when I would open the back door at the house, we had probably 300 ducks. We had chickens all over the place. We had the peafowl. We had the guinea fowl. We had quail in a coop. We had horses, donkeys, goats, sheep. Dogs. I might be missing something. Anyway, we had a lot of stuff going on. It was crazy at this place. If I opened the sliding glass door, it's not a loud door, right? That chicken would take off and run to the far end of the property just to get away from the fact that the sliding glass door opened. And he could have been 20 yards away from me when I opened the door. He was just crazy. But, yeah, they are kind of stupid, huh? But he was a guinea chicken cross, and I forget what they're called. There's a special word for them. I went on the internet because the internet is my friend. I don't have a lot of face-to-face friends. For one thing, I just moved all the way across the country, pretty much all the way across the country from my friends. But I'm okay. I'm okay. I looked it up on the internet, and my friends on the internet, probably Wikipedia, told me that guineas and chickens can mate. And that's what we had. We had a, whatever that is. I forget. I think it might be called a Gwyn, but I'm not positive. So Felix was his own species. He would have been a mule. He would not have been able to produce babies. I felt bad for him because the chickens and the guineas wouldn't talk to him. But I was happy that he found friendship with the ducks, and he did really like to hang out with the ducks, and that was good. He was pretty special. I like the fact that that happened. I think, thank you, Kat and Jack. Yes, I agree. It was interesting. I didn't have any friends in the area that had that happen, at least not that they knew of. We all had, I was in a couple of chicken groups because that's where crazy women hang out. Right. You probably have chicken groups you're into too, don't you, Kat? Yeah. Anyway, there was one big chicken group, and everybody in there was surprised. But I had pictures of him. I had videos of him. He was an okay looking bird, but definitely an odd. Okay, try to stay away from the crazy women. Yeah. There's some crazy people out there, and it is mostly women. I've been in chicken groups. I used to be in backyard chicken. There's really crazy people in there. They are, they're nuts. I've been in horse groups of horse people. Crazy. Dog and cat rescuers. There's a high crazy factor there. When I worked in wildlife rehabilitation, a lot of crazy people in there. I don't know why animals attract crazy people. Like these people that can't reason. It's strange. When I worked as a volunteer at the zoo, I was a volunteer docent at the local zoo for a while. There's crazy people out there, ladies and gentlemen. And you find that in the dog and cat world with like breeders, not backyard breeders, but you know, AKC registered like trainers, breeders, those kind of people. Not all of them. What time is it? 3 o'clock? Okay, good. My clock's going off. You might not be able to hear it, but I've got a grandfather clock that's awesome. Vintage, super cool. Anyway, yeah, unconditional love that would be attractive. And like with a lot of the people that I was working with in wildlife rehab, I think they were a lot of the people I knew, they were damaged when they were children and there was nobody there to help them. And they felt helpless. So they rescued wildlife, and it helped them heal kind of from their childhood. I hate to use the word trauma. People throw it around too much, but you know, they were damaged as children. And this was how I don't know, something to do with their childhood, but they were kind of crazy. I had a woman that I didn't go out to her. Hello, Sertep Films. Hi. I went to her ranch once. I took her a duck. I used to walk around the lake once a day. I had a daycare. I had 4 to 6 kids in the daycare, and every day we would go walk around the lake. It was not a long walk, but it made us all happy. Unless the weather was bad. And I always had a pair of wire cutters and needle nose pliers in my pocket because I was always finding ducks with fish hooks and fishing line wrapped around their legs and feet. And no fisherman goes out there and says, I'm going to mess up a bunch of ducks. I'm going to do this on purpose. At least I don't think so. It's just their stuff gets tangled up and they lose it. They cut it and they leave it there and it gets wrapped around legs. So I had this duck. And I had caught him because they're mostly tame. These are people's pets they've let go at the lake, so they're easy to catch. I saw he had a problem. I caught him, and I was able to pull the wire off and pull the fish hook out. But hello, Abdallah from Zanzibar. Interesting. So, but he had around his leg where the wire or where the fishing line was, it had actually cut the skin completely around. So he needed some antibiotics and some rehab. And I wasn't set up for a duck at the time. I was set up for raptors. I had a whole bunch of baby, I think they were sharp-shinned hawks. I had a whole nest of them, and I had a red-tailed hawk, and I had 2 great horned owls at the time. I didn't have any room for a duck. Yeah, they would love the duck. They said, oh yeah, we'll take care of that duck for you, ma'am, right now. Looks like dinner. So anyway, I took him to this lady's ranch, and she said to me in her crazy voice, all fishermen should be shot. I'm a fisherman. Hi, Joa Lorenzo. I'm a fisherman. I fish. I mean, I don't leave my fishing line and my hooks lying around. If I get hooked, snagged on something, then I have no choice. I can't climb a tree and get my line out. I clip it as high up as I can, but I can't help that. If I get snagged on something underwater, I can't help it. I can't help it, right? I'm not purposely going out trying to ruin nature. But she actually, and she was very passionate and like mad because this duck had an injured leg that was going to be very easy to fix. All fishermen should be shot. Those are the people I was working with. That was actually the day I decided I wasn't going to do animal rehabilitation anymore because I was surrounded by crazy people. And I decided to get out of it. So how long have I been yammering on? 30 minutes. You guys are awesome. Thank you for hanging out so long. So the Guinea stories are done. I wandered off into a duck rehabilitation story, which I didn't intend to tell. So you guys know that I had a Guinea mother who was a terrible mother, let her babies be eaten by squirrels, and then abandoned them at night to be eaten by just about anything that came through there. And I had 3 Guineas who kept a duck in the witness protection program, wouldn't allow him to have a girlfriend, but also tried to keep him from getting beat up by the other boys. We had Napoleon who chased vehicles down the road. And there was another one. Wasn't there another one? Oh, the owl, the great horned owl that ate 2 of them. So I think I'm done with my Guinea story for the day. You guys are awesome. There are 9 people in here. Thank you to the 8 of you who gave me a thumbs up. If you want to hear more weird farm stories, or if you like drag racing. Does that sound strange? That combination? It kind of is. Hey, Wave Bandit, no one cares. Huh, that's interesting that no one cares. Some people do care. There are 9 people in here who care, Wave Bandit. Your comment is not true. It's a lie. Even if of all of the billions of people on earth don't care, there are 9 people in here who care, and I'm number 10. Okay? So put that in your pipe and smoke it. All right, guys, I'm going to say goodbye and take the weirdness away with me. I'm going to the drag way. I think I'm going to the drag way. I'm going to find out, actually, if I can get a press pass. I doubt if I can. I only have 2,600 followers on my YouTube channel. But I'm going to try. I'm going to see what it would take to get a press pass, because I do a lot of advertising for the dragway. You guys watch. Some of you do. Some of you don't. But some of you do, right? All right, guys. You all have a good day. Wherever you are in the world, either have a good day, have a good night. Yes, Kat and Jack, we will cross paths for sure, okay? Let's do that sometime. All right, guys. God bless you and be safe. Bye.